Call the Ravenna Planning Commission meeting March 25th, 2025 to order. Can we have roll call?
Yes. Mr. Barber? Here. Mr. Content?
Here.
Mr. Hairston?
Here.
Ms. Lovato? Here. Mr. Seaman? Mr. Jennings?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Finney?
Here. I will entertain a motion to excuse the mayor.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approval of the February 25th meeting minutes. You all have the meeting minutes in your packet? Any corrections? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Okay. All right. Tim seconded. And Carmen abstained. All right, so we, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we'll move on to new business. Tim Ellsworth. Would you please step to the microphone? Yeah, state your project.
My son and I, we own the property at 101 Washington Street, and we were wanting to rent the property on a temporary use, conditional use, I guess you have it on here, as a residential house and/or like home office, till we come up with a better idea for a business. We are business owners in town, and just haven't come up with a good idea for the property, and it's costing us money just sitting there vacant, so we wanted to just buy some time, I guess, and be able to rent the property as residential or residential home office, small business, something like that in there.
In your packet, you have the aerial photo of the property. For many years, Mr. Dunkel used this to sell, I believe, school equipment
Yes.
out of. His office was in the lower level, his showroom was on the upper level.
Yes.
And obviously, it's been sold. For a few years, Circle K was actually looking to expand, and they were looking to purchase a few of these properties. I think I'm going back 2017, 18, when they submitted plans, and they just obviously didn't pull the trigger on the project, and they didn't really have an explanation why. We revisited a couple years later, and they were looking at other plans. So currently, they're, then recently, they submitted a plan up along 14. That property has since been sold to the VA, so we know they won't be there. So there's still a chance Circle K could, at some point, purchase and expand, purchase this property.
Yes.
So your plan is currently to rent it as a 3-bedroom house, single-family house,
Would be just 2-bedroom, right?
or 2-bedroom?
In there? Yeah, I guess it would be 3, yeah.
3, okay.
Depending on whether they have like a home office, I figured like the one would be like an office or whatever, or something in there, but yeah, it could be 3 if it was just residential.
Okay. And in the industrial zone, residential, single-family is conditionally permitted. So if Planning Commission decides to move this on to next month, there would be a public hearing held. And obviously, then the residents would have a chance to voice their opinion, or not voice their opinion, not show up, which is probably what would end up happening, but we'll give them that opportunity to voice their opinion. There's obviously plenty of parking on this property for the residential needs, 1 per bedroom plus 1. So if it's a 3-bedroom, they have 4 parking spaces. That's not an issue.
Yes. The front has some parking spaces, but I agree with Mr. Finney that, you know, we wouldn't have like regular overnight parking there because it is close to the walkway and everything. So yeah, they would, if it was just residential, be parking back there. But if it were a business, you know, and they're conducting any kind of business of any sort, that they'd be able to park there and then leave.
But as Tim and I discussed, residential is, at this location, doesn't necessarily benefit the city. We would love to see a large business that is vibrant and has employees, and we get income tax and that sort of thing. But with that, I also understand that he's been looking for almost a year for a client. We discussed the used car lot and some other things that are permitted in the I-1 that just really not the greatest location even for a used car lot. So residential, from what we discussed, was just a temporary stop to collect some revenue until a better client could come along.
Yes, that is correct.
One quick question. So this is gonna be temporary. Your efforts to rent out the business aspect of it will continue as they are now, or, you know, I guess I'm a little concerned because when does it become, well, we tried again, so we're just gonna hold off and keep it residential?
Well, we have a couple businesses already, construction businesses, and we would like to have some kind of business in there, so we would be actively looking for business or a business of our own that, you know, that we could make a profit there too.
And it's a decent-sized parcel, 0.67 acres, would lend itself to a larger business in the industrial zone versus just singly being residential. Yeah, I think the land has more value as commercial industrial than it does residential. So,
Have you had any communications with Circle K about the availability?
It's corporate, so it's a little hard to get the right person. We did talk to acquisitions, they were considering it, and then it just kind of ended. But that's what we were gonna do, was like put it up for lease or sale. Like if there is a business that wants to come in there, then, you know, we would consider that too, to sell or lease.
Everybody knows how I feel about adding rental properties to the city. We need it like a hole in our head. It brings down the value of the people who do own properties in the city. I mean, we're only sitting at about 20% home ownership.
This is sitting vacant at the moment, and there really are no residential neighbors to bring down the value on it.
are your red buttons up?
My red button is up.
Okay.
Can
My
you
voice
hear,
is not.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay.
I was just noting that it is currently sitting vacant. So while rental is not ideal, it's better than vacant. And there aren't a lot of other residential neighbors nearby on this location.
So how would you structure a lease? Like, be month to month or something? Just waiting for, I mean, I'm getting the idea that you just want to not lose money on this until a business comes and rents it out.
Well, we're hoping to advertise it as like a home business or a business to come in there. And we would, you know, continue to try to think about a business. Like Ms. Finney said, that, you know, we've come up with a couple ideas, you know, like a building for like storage, but there's so many, so that isn't really a good idea. The car lot, we had thought about it, and we're kicking that around, but it wasn't really cost effective to do all the pavement, and is it a great neighborhood? And we're just trying to think of a, you know, of a good business that would be profitable in there.
I'd rather see a renter than a car lot.
Well, if there's no further comments, I'd entertain a motion, one way or the other.
Move this forward.
Correct, move the, yes, yeah, a motion to move this forward to public hearing.
Should we amend it to say 3-bedroom?
You sure can.
Because it says 2-bedroom on here.
Yeah, that was my fault, and that's what.
That's okay.
Yeah, because in my head, I've had that room up top that's always been a showroom. I've known the family for like 20 years. Dunkel and Wicks had that property for years, and I just know it as a showroom up there. So, yeah,
Well, this is the time to amend it.
yeah.
And with a stair, a set of stairs from the lower level out, that would permit a bedroom with direct access to the exterior. So bedroom or a couple bedrooms could be on the lower level. Okay, so we'll amend the application to state a 3-bedroom residential home. So I'll entertain a motion to move this on to a public hearing next month.
I propose a motion with the added adjustment of the bedrooms number to allow this to go to next month's meeting for public hearing.
I'll second the motion.
So we have a first and a second. Any further discussion? All right, let's take a roll call individually instead of all in favor. Okay.
Mr. Hairston?
Yes.
Ms. Lovato?
Yes.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Content?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Okay,
April 28th.
yep, so we'll public hearing same time next month.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, so move on to the new business. And Amy did not make it tonight. So in the conversations with the library, with the mayor and the law director, we're requesting planning commission move the rezoning of the library property. It's currently 3 zones, to rezone it as one parcel, to rezone it as one zone, and then also allow me, as the plating commissioner, to sign the plat consolidating all of the parcels that the library has. Currently, the library, well, you see your map, the library sits on 3 different zones. This should have been done years ago, and it was my understanding from my predecessor, it was supposed to be done. Obviously, didn't get done. I checked with the county recorder's office, and it was not done. So we're looking for 2 things. We're looking for a zoning map change. Let me say that again. We're looking for planning commission's approval to move this on to council, requesting a zoning map change. And the other then is allowing me to sign the consolidation plat, consolidating all of the parcels that the library has.
And this change doesn't have any effect on any of its surrounding neighbors.
Correct. We're not creating spot zoning. The library sits on Central Business District, and then C1, the neighbors, the properties to the east are also C1. So the proposal is to change all of those parcels to C1, Commercial 1, which is conducive to the surrounding area. So to initiate a zoning map change, there's four ways this can be done. The first one, by adoption of a motion by Planning and Zoning Commission or the Board of Zoning Appeals. Number 2, by submittal of a request to the council by a council member. Number 3, the submittal of a request to the council by the mayor or by the application with the consent of the property owner of record, which would be the library. So the library's application is showing their interest in consolidating all of these parcels. I know there's been a discussion, the library doesn't own it, the library does own it, it's a contract, via contract. So, hopefully I explained that, it's clear to everybody.
What is the advantage going forward?
The advantage of going forward in changing the zoning,
Correct.
the zoning map, changing the zoning map, it just consolidates all the parcels, so any changes in the future can be looked at as a whole to the property, not separate. This is central business district where you're allowed to do certain things, but not in the C1 and vice versa, and then also R4.
Why would it not be 2 parcels with the parking and the frontage?
So that's where in 2004, the ball was dropped because parking should not have been permitted in the R4, but it was. So this is cleaning it up. Obviously, it was permitted, Planning Commission approved it, council approved it, so it moved forward. Okay.
My name is Cynthia Miller. We own the commercial property at 309 East Main Street. My biggest question for Amy, had she been here, was why now? Again, this could have been done anytime in the last 21 years. Now that there's been a lawsuit filed against the city, against the Planning Commission, and against the library for what, and I'll make legal terms, in my opinion, is violation of the ordinances of the city of Ravenna by the Planning Commission, by approving the project that they approved for the library. That's why I want to speak in open forum to the individual members of this commission. I would ask that you table this indefinitely until this case has been adjudicated. I think I deserve that as a resident of Ravenna. And I understand why this is now. Why now that there is a lawsuit, why would you muddy the waters and try to fix a problem that's 21 years old? And I would ask as a courtesy that you table this. It can be taken up any time, as you know, after this lawsuit is settled. And this I know because I filed the lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, Planning Commission, if Planning Commission would make a motion to move this forward, then City Council has to make the final decision. And again, having discussed with the law director and library, we believe it's best, it's time to make the change to the zoning map. And again, the library is working on consolidating all of these parcels. I'll entertain a motion to move this on, to adopt the motion and move it on to City Council for approval. We'll do the first one as the zoning map change.
So this is to make this all C1, is that correct?
That is correct.
And this was the original intent by
That
your
was-
predecessor,
That was my understanding, correct.
and it wasn't to make it 2. It was to make everything into C1.
Correct. That's my understanding, yes.
So we are simply just going back and correcting something, tying up a loose end from 20-some years ago,
Correct.
which, thanks to the lawsuit, was brought to our attention. I would say, I would argue.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have,
Second.
any further discussion? All right, roll call individually, please.
Yes.
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 Mr. Barber abstained. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of the library.
Yes.
and Mr. Smith.
All right, so motion passes, motion carries. All right, so then we'll address the second item, which is allowing the plating commissioner, me, to sign the consolidation plat when it's completed, which again is taking all of those parcels, as you see outlined in red, as one parcel.
And just to be clear, this is a normal process. You're the person sitting in the seat that would be doing that.
Yes, I am the plating commissioner of record. When plats meet, plats, consolidation plats, when land is divided, you know, if there's an acre, somebody wants to divide it in half, things like that, I'll go through to make sure that they don't create a non-buildable lot, or make sure that it's not a landlocked parcel, that sort of thing. There's other things that I check, but if all of that fits, then I can sign it without planning commission's approval. When we get into something large like this, crossing zoning or vacation plats, then planning commission has to give me permission to do those things. Vacation plat, if the city's giving land away, then it has to go to council, but planning commission, move it on to council.
I was aware of that. I just thought that would be a good
Oh,
thing
yeah.
to have in the
Yes.
minutes.
All right, that's good.
Thank you.
I have a
question.
question. Does council need to approve the zoning map change before you can replat it? I would
Before it
assume-
can be, before the consolidation plat.
Right,
No, council would have no part of the consolidation plat because they're not taking land or giving land away. That would be planning commission's power.
I just wanted to make sure that we're following the process. It's never too late to pay attention to detail.
Yep.
I'll make a motion then to authorize Bob Finney to sign the plats for consolidation.
Second?
Okay,
Would you call roll individually, please?
yes. Ms. Lodato,
Yes.
Mr. Hairston,
Yes.
Mr. Content,
Yes.
Mr. Barber,
Mr. Barber abstains.
Mr. Jennings,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to old business, Transient Housing Bill 109. I believe you guys all have this in your packet. Just like to open up discussion. Couple things. Carmen and Mark and I had at one point discussed meeting and trying to come up with some criteria, further criteria for transient housing. We didn't make it, we didn't make it together to do that. And since then, Councilman Rob Karras found this House bill, and that's what you have in front of you. And if it does get approved, this reminds me very much of the marijuana bill that came through, and we didn't, as a city, we didn't have a choice. Still don't, but I highlighted a couple things as I went through, things that we had sort of discussed in the past, that this is potentially prohibiting, prohibits outright short-term, that it prohibits local government from outright prohibiting short-term rentals, prohibits creating a lottery system, prohibits using zoning laws to prohibit short-term rentals, prohibits restricting the number of rentals an individual may operate, and then prohibits requiring the owner of a property to occupy a short-term rental. There was a brief discussion, other communities stated that the property owner has to live in the house so many days a year, along with renting it as transient housing. So, according to this proposal, municipality cannot require that. The bill also caps a licensing fee of $20 and requires all short-term rental platforms to collect and remit local lodging taxes through a centralized collection model. We currently have a collection, an ordinance for collecting transient housing. I think it's 3%. We haven't collected on it because we didn't really kind of know it existed, I guess. The finance department didn't. I wasn't even aware of it all of my years, but obviously we are now. So we're going to come up with a way to notify. That's the other thing, is to find out who these folks are that have these transient rental properties. As we've discussed, we think we know 4 of them. Are there more? Did more pop up yesterday, tomorrow? That's the difficult part. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how we comb through, the way we find rental properties. Cindy from our office, we have our rental list that we've been working with for many years. And she'll look at the auditor's website to see if where the tax bills are being mailed to. If they don't match, then she'll send a notification. Or we'll call the utility billing office, ask who the customer is on the water account, the utility account. And if it doesn't match, then we kind of assume it's a rental property. They get a letter stating you have a rental property, and we sort of wait for them to respond. Right now, that's our only system that I know of for transient housing, is similar to that. But anyway, couple pages back, we're at the bill analysis, Ohio Legislative Service Commission summary. The bill authorizes municipalities to require registration or licensing, so as long as the fee of a license or registration does not exceed $20 per property. It's interesting because they're not stating per year, per month, $20 per lifetime. That's, I'm sure it'll come out eventually, but we currently charge $40 to inspect a rental property every 2 years. A single family and a 2-family rental property gets charged $40 every 2 years for inspection. And that's called a rental inspection, not a fee. We charge an application fee, a one-time application fee for a new rental property of $100. As long as they maintain their current status, they don't pay that $100 again. We just charge for inspection fees. So I'm not sure how this is going to play into us. I mean, the reality is $20 application fee or licensing fee, it's almost not worth our administration time, because Tiffany would spend time with this person receiving it, and then if they pay $20, she writes them a receipt, then it goes to finance, and the finance department has to do their financing end, and then it goes into the bank, and so it could cost us well over 2 hours dealing with this process. So hopefully this is allowed to be changed, just for the processing end of things. $20 isn't going to help us out at all. And it does say we're permitted to levy a tax on such lodging within the jurisdiction, but they're not, this doesn't state what that tax can be. I think, Carmen, didn't you say 6% at one point?
Yes, the Ohio Revised Code has language regarding that. And then when I submitted the suggestions for the short-term rentals before, I had a table included with all of the cities in Ohio, and Ravenna nobody went lower than 3%, so we're at the minimum, but everywhere else in Portage County is charging 6%. And if I'm reading this right, it's, if you have something in place, then you can't be forced to lower it, but it sounds like if this is gonna be adopted, that you can't go back and raise it. That you're kind of stuck. This was just introduced to committee. I looked it up on February 14th. So my suggestion, that one thing that we should probably expeditiously do is recommend to council that we increase that bedroom tax from 3 to 6% and at least have that in place.
Is this a yearly fee? I think it
This
is
is gonna be, that's gonna be the bedroom tax.
bedroom tax
The,
for 6%. You're saying?
from 3 to 6%.
3 to
We're
6.
sitting at 3, but everywhere else in the county
Right.
is at 6.
Okay. But this fee would be based on their income
The fee is
for
separate.
the year?
Yes, the fee is separate.
Well, okay, for the, yeah, so the bedroom tax of, say, 3 or 6% is charged on the income that they will make in a year.
Right. So
Okay.
right now, we're at 3%. I mean, I would hate to just kind of sit on this and for whatever reason, miracles happen down in Columbus and this gets approved.
Oh, I understand.
And then we can't go back.
So when we can,
And there's another
Shortly, we
part, I have a
can-
question about, maybe you know the answer to this. It says about the $20 fee that you can only collect it through a centralized collection model. What is that?
I don't know that.
Like centralized where? Somewhere central in the city, in the county?
Well, and I would expect that would be referring to our finance department. That would be our central collection system.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things in this that are really unclear.
And it, with the way other municipalities and counties are set up, they might have kind of a county form of government versus a county with 4 cities. So the townships might defer to the county, and it might be referring to the township and the county can't pull from the same people.
Most of what this recommends, we weren't looking at doing anyway. We weren't looking at banning short-term rentals. We weren't looking at instituting a lottery system for them. We were looking at limiting them possibly by zone, but I think we scratched that, and we weren't looking at limiting how many a single property owner can own. So a lot of those things wouldn't affect any of the discussions that we had anyway. So I just think that one thing I would maybe recommend, I mean, I guess we shouldn't wait until we have everything we want to do with this to send forward to council, but maybe one thing that they could do is change that tax rate from 3 to 6%.
Will you make a motion?
I would make that motion to recommend to council that we increase that collection tax rate from 3 to 6% and put us in line with all of the other cities in Portage County that charge 6%.
I'll second that.
Second that. Any further discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 And I'll be happy to go to that council meeting and discuss that, how we came to that decision and share with them the information I have about the other cities and that this is just putting us in line with what surrounds us.
Thank you.
Out there anyway.
Well, that's our agenda for the night. Thank you all for coming out. Our next meeting is scheduled for April 29th. And I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, we're done. Good job. Did that record? Did that? You did what? Oh, no. All right. All right.
Thank you.
Well, 30 minutes is better than. So you got 15 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they want a shadow for a day or two, we just kind of want to set it up so we're available.
This will save me hours of work.
I just don't know what the requirements are. So I put it back in her lap.
Yeah, that'd be tough for us.
Explain. Yes.
Yep. I mean, you know, if they have a class project they want to do, my son needed volunteer hours, so I had him
And Amy.
go through, take pictures of traffic lights, not traffic lights, street lights and boxes and stuff I needed done. So we can always, we had high school kids surveying our streets. They use Google Earth and then they,
Be here before we know it.
so we can come up with projects if somebody